Hey, what is up everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we're taking a look at Polkadot and a few other altcoins. Now Polkadot is up 3% today and the entire market is seeing a nice pump up. Before we jump into all of that though, make sure you guys go check out the Discord down below. You can see on the screen right now just how many trades our members have been winning from simply joining up and starting to copy and paste the trades that we're sending out to them every single day. It's been absolutely insane. We have over an 85% win rate, so yeah, make sure you join up. It will be the first link in the description. Now back to Polkadot. So overall, this area at the 1 Fibonacci here on $3.5859, this has been overall the best DC area, although we have broken through that support now. However, you know, in all videos prior I've been saying that anything under $4 is really a great buy for Polkadot, and I still stand by that. Overall, we have obviously dipped significantly under $4, you know, like 10% to be exact. However, the entire market has seen that exact same dip, and that's been due to tariffs. Now what we're going to be watching over the next few days and week is really how Bitcoin is going to be moving up. Now we saw it slightly retract on Tuesday, and then Wednesday it just consolidated. Now Thursday it's seeing a small pump up. The key area we're watching is going to be 92,000 somewhere around here, maybe even 89.3, and if it's able to break above, then we're going to be looking to head higher. If not, we're going to look to probably head to 74,000 somewhere around there. Now the main sort of indicator whether we break through or not, I think, will be something of news relation. That could be either, you know, the tariffs get lifted and we get a deal with China and the US. That would be absolutely huge. It could also be rate cuts, which are probably going to happen in roughly 1 month's time, as we do have an FOMC meeting in May. There's going to be back-to-back FOMC meetings in May, June and July, and if we get rate cuts, then great, the market will pump up. The S&P will also see a nice pump up, and obviously that will translate into altcoins. Also, how that will look in terms of profit, well, on Polkadot we're not really targeting, you know, these small profits of like 50%, where we're instead looking at, you know, $10 to $11, which will give us a 3x, just over a 3x. Now historically, every time Polkadot has dipped below $4, it's always rallied back up to roughly $11 or higher. You know, the first time was in 2020 and we rallied to $50. Second time was here in 2023 October, we then rallied to nearly $12. Third time was here in November of 24 and we rallied back to $11.60. Now this is the fourth time where we're here at this support. Again, hopefully it happens again. That's what we're sort of banking on, but you can always target, you know, much lower profits. You can target a 2.5x here at $8.30, $8.60. Even if you just want a 2x, you know, you can target $7.11, which is really easy to hit in my opinion. Like once these alts start going, they really start pumping up. Like you can see, as soon as we start getting a bit of momentum, they instantly start pumping up. It was, you know, more evident during the December-November rally. Other coins that are performing quite well today: Render up 12%, which is really good to see, and Fetch as well up 10%. The more sort of AI narrative coins, hopefully that is a sign that the AI narrative is still hot, and you know, when the market does fully recover and we get those rate cuts, we get those tariffs lifted and deals put in place, that in these AI coins will be the ones that are really soaring. Fetch obviously with the AI bots, and Render obviously with the GPU rendering services, which help AI a lot. Polkadot isn't necessarily a narrative play, it's more so a value play. Polkadot has been around for quite a few years. It was around in the previous run, it was around in the, you know, first and second leg sort of runs we got in 23 and 24, and we're simply playing the value here, where, you know, it's worked in the past very well to buy low these value coins like Polkadot, AVAX, Solana now, XRP. You know, these coins that have been around for quite a while, they usually see a nice big sell-off, and if you're simply going to be buying that low, the risk gets lower and lower the lower you buy. I think it's quite you know, common sense now, but it also means that we don't have to target extreme highs. Like we're not going to try and target $50 and the all-time highs for all of these coins. We can simply just target previous highs, which are relatively easy to hit, and you know, the gains we're going to get is going to be 3.3x on Polkadot, which is insane. You know, 100k invested is 330k returned in profit, which is crazy. So yeah, that's what we're going to be looking to do, and I think it will work out quite well. Obviously S&P also needs to start recovering, but again, that's all based on how the US deals with the tariffs and rate cuts. Because the main thing to remember is that this entire crash wasn't actually fueled by any sort of crypto related news. or any sort of crypto related dump or pump. It was simply just based on Trump coming into office, making changes very, very quickly, which people I don't think expected, and the tariffs, which also people didn't really expect. They might have thought he was bluffing. Another thing to remember is what we've seen with ETH and the ETF inflows and outflows on ETH. These institutional investors don't really like to buy the dip. Instead, they buy momentum. So when ETH was starting to rally here, that's when the ETF investors started buying up, and when we started to dump, that's when they started selling off. So they buy with momentum. If retail is able to start pushing it up higher, that's when ETF investors start adding fuel to the fire. It starts rallying even more, and it creates this sort of compound effect until we reach a specific resistance. We get some news that then retransforms it into a dump, and so on and so forth. It just becomes this everlasting cycle. So yeah, for ETH and Bitcoin, the main coins of the ETFs, that's what's going to be happening. I think once we get the tariffs and rate cuts resolved, we should be getting more ETF filings and more ETFs approved for other cryptos, Solana, Polkadot, HBAR, XRP, Doge, and eventually I think the plan should be for there to be a top 25, a top 50 altcoin ETF similar to the S&P 500. So yeah, once that happens, there'll be a lot more ETF money flowing into crypto, and that's when we're going to see even bigger runs. But again, that might not happen for a good next few months, maybe not even this year, but definitely at least end of 2025, 2026, maybe that's when we see it. So that's another thing to keep an eye on as well. Other coins I'm going to be keeping an eye on this week include Doge, Dog with Hat. Again, Dog with Hat, anytime it sees any sort of good move up, there's always good shorting opportunities. Fetch, again, up 10% today. API 3 sort of just consolidating. XRP also just consolidating, no real move there yet. Sui up 5%, sort of using this previous support level as a new support level again. Render also moving up quite nicely. It has a resistance at like $4.30 or $20. AVAX slow mover has a resistance at $20.60. Solana also moving up quite well. Hopefully is able to get up to 160ish, 165, where the next resistance is. ETH really undervalued here. Next targets are like 1.8 to 2.1k, and Bitcoin, again, we've already talked about this. So that's what we're going to be keeping an eye on this week. And if you want to be copying my trades that I'm personally entering every single day, then check out the Discord down below. First link in the description, we have an 85% win rate. And if you need a place to actually be entering those trades, then check out all the exchanges we're working with down below. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye, guys.